The Los Angeles Dodgers are going all in as a new report reveals a massive update into the trade talks, yes, talks that have happened between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Detroit Tigers for an ace. We talk about it here today on Dodgers Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate hanging out with me and tuning in to today's show. And we had a report a couple days ago that it seemed as though the Dodgers were potentially going to be on the table for Tarik Skubal. Well, today we got that officially confirmed, and not only confirmed, it seems as though the Tigers, they're considering this offer. Now, we know that Freddie Freeman, he's been working in the wings, working in the woods, haven't really seen a lot. Obviously, the Edwin Diaz, he popped out, got the guy that he wanted, got the top closer on the market, and probably for good reason. Obviously, Robert Suarez today signing with the Atlanta Braves, and the Dodgers, for as much as you want to talk about their outfield or whatever that they need for next year, the one thing that would legitimately make them better is a closer. He went out, he got that. Now there is some new inklings and rumors going around about a Mr. Tarik Skubal. Now, the Detroit Tigers are really screwing up the situation, in my opinion. They offered him a contract that they considered to be good for a guy who had just won back-to-back Cy Youngs. And Tarik Skubal looked at it, laughed, and basically said no, because guess what? It was $250 million in difference from what him and his camp had. And so, what is the next steps for the Tigers? What are the next steps for the teams across the Major League Baseball level? Well, seems as though a trade might be on the table, because the Tigers don't really want to give up Tarik Skubal for nothing, in theory, if he leaves next year for free agency. But at the same time, our team's going to be willing to give an absolute haul to Detroit for, again, a guy who could leave in free agency next year if you don't puff up and give him the $400 million or whatever he's going to ask for. Well, we got a new report from Bob Nightengale. The Dodgers and Tigers have held serious trade talks about a potential Tarik Skubal trade at the winter meetings. He said that the Dodgers prospect package was intriguing to Detroit, which helped spark the buzz, end quote. Now, in the full official quote from Bob Nightengale on USA Today, basically everything that the Dodgers threw at the Tigers, they took and said, we like that. We do. And Freddie Freeman, I feel as though now he has stepped back and said, that's our offer. You come back to me if this is what you're considering or if we need to add in more or what. Very much feels to me like this is a deal that the Dodgers are, I'm not going to say hell-bent on getting done because ultimately the Tigers have to be the second party in this. But if Tarik Skubal gets traded, it will be to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and there is no doubt in my mind. The question is it worth it for the Dodgers? We all know how good Tarik Skubal is. I've shown you his stats 1,000 times at this point, and you've seen him probably shoved down your throat on MLB Network and other publications. But it really doesn't even begin to show how good and how generational Tarik Skubal has been over the past couple years and looks to be for the next 5, 3, 4, maybe even decade. Depends on how you look at it. Obviously, pitchers can kind of fluctuate and you never know what's going to happen, but winning Cy Young back-to-back years, having an ERA at 2.21 and a whip of .891 is absolutely spectacular. With 241 strikeouts to only 141 hits, he is the definition of an ace. He is the definition of dominant on the bump. For the Dodgers, they have some interesting things that they have already talked about in trades, or not talked about, but at least been floated around by The Athletic and ESPN about potential trade packages that could very much kind of catch the ear of the Detroit Tigers. We've shown this one before, but just to put it back up there, Emmett Sheehan, Tyler Glasnow, and Zaire Hope. Hope, the number 2 prospect for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We know that Glasnow has been on trade talks for the Los Angeles Dodgers, according to Alden Gonzalez. Very much something that I was surprised to hear, but again, in this situation, if the Dodgers know that if they get Skubal, they can extend him, which I think that is very much a possibility with what the Los Angeles Dodgers and their financial situation is, then why not make the move, especially when you're giving up Glasnow already? You get a pretty good return for him. Now, I think the other prospect is, we don't know if that was the trade that was offered. We don't know if they offered him anywhere close to that. But the fact that the Detroit Tigers were even interested, it starts to catch your eye and race your mind and think, man, if the Dodgers were able to pull this off, they would have a starting rotation. Again, this is assuming Emmett Sheehan and, of course, Tyler Glasnow were traded in this. Their starting rotation would be Tarik Skubal, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, MVP, World Series MVP, Yoshinobu, Shohei Ohtani, the best player on the planet, Blake Snell, a Cy Young in his own right, and Roki Sasaki, who last year was tabbed as the best rookie pitcher to ever come out of Japan. That would be deadly. And not just deadly, it would be something that the rest of the MLB would probably not settle for, and there would probably be a lockout next year, which, hey, if we're winning 3 in a row and there's a lockout before it, so be it. Y'all can't live with your own defeat, so you came back to me, buddy. And this is what is going to be a very big talking point of what did the Dodgers offer? If they did offer Glasnow, is that going to be enough to go out there and land a guy in Tarik Skubal and Glasnow for as good as he is? Same age as Tarik Skubal. Now, you include Emmett Sheehan, you include, obviously, Zaire Hope. That is a whole different facet. But Glasnow's a really good pitcher. 3.19 earned run average last year with a 1.096 whip. We do know the injuries. 90 innings pitched last year, only in 18 games. It is something to note, but at the same time, he's been very good for really all of his career, going back to Tampa Bay Rays days as well. Now, I think the caveat to this is, obviously, they're not going to give Tarik Skubal for Tyler Glasnow straight up, but you add in the fact that Emmett Sheehan is in this deal, who a lot of Dodgers fans like, including myself, and I think most of us feel that this guy could be a legitimate starter for the Dodgers in this upcoming season. Obviously, kind of depends on how it shakes out. At this current point in time, I think Sheehan only gets a starting role for injury purposes, or if they do trade Glasnow without getting a pitcher in return. Because then, of course, if we go back to the starting rotation, in this scenario, Tarik Skubal's not on here. It's Yoshinobu, Shohei, Blake Snell, and Roki, and you have your fifth guy. If you traded Glasnow, that'd be Emmett Sheehan. So I do like him. I think he was very good, but it's just hard for, I think, some organizations to, I guess the right word, put up or shut up when it comes to Tarik Skubal, because I think the Dodgers are the only team in the MLB who legitimately believe they can go out, they can make this trade, and within days, weeks, whatever, execute an extension for Tarik Skubal. When you talk about the new potential luxury tax rules coming in after this season, I think at this point, guess what? The Dodgers might be saying, hey, we're going to spend all of our money, and we're going to do it as quick as possible. Now, ultimately, Bob Nightengale of USA Today did put this out there at the end of his article, saying, quote, "Prediction, Skubal will stay put. There's simply no team that will strip their farm system for 1 year of Skubal, knowing that he could be parting after 1 year for the riches of free agency, where he's expected to receive at least $400 million, end quote. And while I do understand his point, and I do agree that there is not an organization that will strip their farm system for Tarik Skubal, the Dodgers don't have to. Zaire Hope is fantastic. Obviously, I would love to see him rise up with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but he's a prospect. And in this deal, obviously, again, this is not confirmed what the deal was, but that would be the only prospect you're giving up. That would be the only guy that is, in theory, coming up that you're giving away. You're already thinking about trading Tyler Glasnow. I love him at Sheehan, but if you're getting Tarik Skubal, man, I don't care. You're getting Skubal. That's easily, I'm taking that and running with it right away. So ultimately, do the Dodgers end up with Tarik Skubal? I'm honestly about 50-50 right now. I truly am. I think if you would have asked me 2-3 days ago, I probably would have said 75% no, 25% yes. But if the Tigers and these reports are legitimate, which every factor says they are, this feels like it is legitimately an option for the Detroit Tigers, and the Dodgers, as we know, are the only team that could pull this off. That's what we got for you here today on Dodgers Digest. We do appreciate you hanging out with us and tuning in to today's show. We thank you for all your support on our latest videos, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and stick around. We appreciate you. See you next time. Peace out, guys.